The president returns back to Washington from Vietnam, but Republicans outside the Beltway have already started rallying around his 2020 bid to stay in the White House.
CBN News White House correspondent Ben Kennedy joins us now with how Republicans plan to win 2020. Ben?
Well, John and Jenna, Republicans at this year's annual Conservative Political Action Conference are painting a picture of, quote, what makes America great? The answer? A Trump presidency. Anything less, according to these conservatives, would be akin to socialism.
America will never be a socialist country.
Front and center at this year's CPAC.
Yeah, you know, if that's what radical means, call me a radical.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her new brand of far-left politics.
No use of fossil fuels within 12 years.
That is the goal. It's ambitious. And
how is that possible? You're talking about everybody having to drive an electric car.
Republicans taking on the freshman congresswoman's Green New Deal.
You know, with this Green New Deal, they're trying to get rid of all the cows. But I've got good news. Chick-fil-A stock will go way up because we're going to be eating more chicken.
Sending signals in a new video that the fight for 2020 will target Democrats as advocates of socialism.
Their 2020 platform sounds identical to policies already tried and now failing in the collapsed socialist state of Venezuela.
Open borders.
I think we should get rid of ICE.
And anti-Semitism.
You used the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Nearly 2 years away from the presidential election, conservatives are training their fire and articulating their wins.
Think about the first 2 years of this presidency. Taxes have been cut, regulations reduced, economy growing at an unprecedented rate, unemployment at its lowest in 50 years. We're out of the Iran deal. Embassies in Jerusalem, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh on the court. The hostages are home from North Korea, new NAFTA agreement, and a president who at the State of the Union will stand up and talk about the sanctity of human life.
Now, the far left is taking center stage at CPAC, and the life issue is playing a major role. Governor Scott Walker hit back at Democrats in Congress for blocking a Republican bill this week to protect children born alive after botched abortions.
It's not live birth abortion. It's not infanticide. It is murder. If you take the baby home and kill the baby at home, it's murder. It's the same thing's true at the hospital.
Now, this as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell took to the Senate floor today to announce his opposition to new legislation from Democrats. Take a listen.
This legislation would shatter the long-standing consensus that federal dollars should not pay for abortions and force taxpayers to fund abortions nationwide.
Now, aside from Senator McConnell, that is, lawmakers say, look, this is just not over, and they will continue to fight for the unborn.
We know you talked to Penny Nance, someone very well known in conservative circles and a featured speaker at today's CPAC gathering. She talked about the Republican stance on the life issue. What exactly did she have to say?
Well, John, to be honest, she was outraged at senators who on Monday blocked legislation that would protect babies who survive a botched abortion. Now, we're talking about the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, which lawmakers, as you know, shot down.
Sometimes the abortionist doesn't get the job done in the womb, and a baby is able to survive. And when she is born, does she deserve life-saving treatment? We say absolutely yes. 44, the dirty 44 said no.
Penny is referring to the 44 senators who voted no, like Democratic presidential hopefuls, Senators Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Elizabeth Warren, just to name a few.
Yeah, Penny, not mincing words. Ben, she's big in conservative circles, but a huge voice for the pro-life community as well.
Yeah, Jenna, you're right. And a bit of background on Penny Nance. She was named one of the top 4 most powerful pro-life female voices by the Christian Post. She even serves on the President's Life Advisory Council.
It's been a great honor to work alongside the most pro-life president in U.S. history.
And why is that? Why do you think President Trump makes pro-life such a priority?
I think he came to this issue late. You know, I don't think earlier in his life that he either had thought about it or maybe he didn't have the right information. But once he had the opportunity to recognize what it meant, what abortion did to families, what it did to babies, what it does to their mothers, has become a real convert to the issue, and he very plainly expressed that.
Penny says the Life Advisory Council has been working on legislation to protect the unborn and also keep money out of Planned Parenthood and places that perform abortions.
And CPAC runs through the weekend. Can you tell us about some of the other big names coming up?
Well, it turns out, John, some of CPAC's biggest speakers have yet to arrive. Vice President Mike Pence will talk on Friday at 10 a.m., while the president is set to fly back from Vietnam in time to speak on Saturday.
I believe the president will talk on a range of issues, but I hope he does talk about the issue of life. I think he will find an audience that's very interested in what he has to say on that.
CPAC is expected to draw more than 10,000 people. This year's theme is What Makes America Great, which, of course, plays on the president's campaign slogan. John, Jenna?
All right, Ben Kennedy, thank you very much.